my God, that intro never ceases to get me hyped, man.
It's pretty good. I
So
like it.
Raises the hair on your arms,
it's
huh?
it's so badass, man. Hail to all of our folks in the chat. Let's say what's up. And I see Trina's in the house. It's good to
Hey,
have Lasso of
hey.
Truth. She's keeping the trolls away.
She's a
So
good
is
girl.
so is RR. We've also got boy PJ Orville Nation. Shout out to
Orville
PJ.
Nation. What up, buddy?
We've got RR, who is also kind of keeping an eye on things, and you know, he loves talking about the things that go bump in the night and the unexplained. I love it. And our dude, the woke breaker, what's up, bro? It's good to see everybody. Um, Troy Pacelli's in the house too. What's up, Troy? Great to see you.
Hell, hell.
So yeah. PJ says, "Oh my God, how did you get a mortal coil on, Drew?" He
You
is
know, I live in
already.
the Vale, and when I go to sleep there, I wake up in this world, and I'm like, fuck.
He
So,
says you're harder to get than Shatner.
then Shatner. We live on the
Yeah.
edge of space, so
Hail to formerly Turbo Graphics Tobat's just Tobat now. What's going on there, Tobat? And hail to the wonderful Maria with T and Telly. How are you, Maria? Um, yeah, we got a lot of folks chilling in here, and of course we've got our usual panel for the evening. And that be my favorite luminaries to do the Sunday show with, and that is the aforementioned Immortal Coil,
hell, hell.
and also we have Corey, Sir Talks a Lot, and please don't ever mistake this man for a parapsychologist. I hate that fucking word. I really hate that fucking word. You know, Corey actually has, a background in psychology, and it's actual psychology. Because when people
Oh, no
tell
shit.
you they're a parapsychologist, it means, yeah, they're full of shit. And I went into a cereal box and called myself a psychologist.
But you got letters after your name? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, actually, no, but Corey has a real world background in psychology, and I appreciate that.
Right on.
So, that's why we have good perspective from him. That's why, and when we look at these phenomena, because my God, we started first show with Sasquatch, then we went to ghosts and hauntings, then we went to the Black Eyed Children, which was last week, and
Mm.
now we are on the Loch Ness Monster. And the reason we did the Loch Ness Monster this week is because there's been some interesting articles come out about the fact that it could be plausible that this creature that has primarily been seen for years, decades upon decades, in the waters of Loch Ness in Scotland, primarily, which is why it got its name, or the name Nessie for short. Um, the most classic picture of this thing. It seems like this is the most iconic photo. I've been seeing this, God, since I was a kid and reading books on unexplained phenomena. It is probably this picture right here,
The
which you
surgeon's photo.
which you could see, yeah, which you could see, sort of the outline of possible hump right there, and then you see a clearly defined possible head.
The
Some
swimmer.
yeah, so that too, or a piece of wood. You never know. But this is probably the most iconic photo, supposedly, of the Loch Ness monster. But that gives you an idea. But the interesting thing about this legend, a lot of people say, well, it could be It could be some dinosaur or something like that. And that's, I think, what a lot of these articles that we've come across are alluding to. Hale Determinus Est. He says, Drew went skinny dipping in Lake Erie one day, minding his own business. Meanwhile, on the other shore, people were running scared away from the Loch Ness monster. Nice.
Right. That previous
Nice.
photo was just Drew laying in the shallows with his pants off.
And it was cold.
Yeah. Right.
Sean.
The frigid temperatures.
Hail to Sean Estep. Great to see you, Sean. Troy said, I always thought that picture looked like a whale wing. Well, apparently not. Apparently
dork?
it's my wing.
Yeah. That is correct, Corey. That's the correct terminology. Yeah.
Tobat said, Loch Ness got me interested as a child. I guess Nessie is a gateway cryptid. Yeah. You know, and I kind of at first, you know, it was that way for me, Tobat, when I started as a child reading a lot of books on unexplained phenomena and things of that nature. Nessie was kind of the first subjects I came across, as well as, of course, Sasquatch. You know, I would say my, I guess, go-to when it comes to, you know, paranormal and unexplained phenomena that I'm most knowledgeable about is, you know, Sasquatch. But, you know, Nessie was kind of an interesting subject for me. And then later, as things got further, you know, and I got older, I kind of became more of a skeptic on Nessie. And I was like, okay, because it's so hard when you sit there and look at it from one aspect and you're like, you know, this could be a dinosaur or something like that. Okay, that's kind of far-fetched because, you know, the only thing you think of is like, yeah, all right, when I'm going to a museum of natural history, I'll see a dinosaur exhibit, but yeah, they're not around anymore. So you know, you don't tend to really put plausibility on it.
Well, it's also one of those things that there is a substantial amount of local lore and sightings that predate our technological era
Mm-hmm.
in the regions. Yeah. So, like in the case of Sasquatch, we had native tribes that describe, I mean, Sasquatch is a native word, right? And then in Scotland, this thing has been seen for hundreds of years. And it's just like, since the 1930s when photographic evidence became a thing, that we started getting things that we could dispute in the media, and then the media itself tends to filter out things that do not concern the apparatus, let's say it like that.
RR says, don't forget Nessie's American cousin Champ. Yeah, referring to the
Lake Champlain.
Yep. Lake Champlain
monster,
yes. Horrible Nation says, Supreme Heretic has been mistaken for Sasquatch. He takes that shortcut through the woods to 7-Eleven at 2 a.m. Nice.
I know. If I don't shower, I smell just like that guy.
Lasso Truth says, everything always turns into a dick joke with all of us. Yes, it does.
Inevitably.
I need to talk toy of the week, Troy. What kind of toys? You know, hail to Zax, by the way. Zax is in the house. Lasso says, I need to make a t-shirt with the Loch Ness monster. Okay. Nice.
Yeah, you should.
Man,
right. I've heard a lot of different theories about what the Loch Ness monster could be. I won't go on the whole list. If you want the whole list, go watch Frank Lee versus the Loch Ness monster on Sir Talks-A-Lot. But there's some crazy ideas of what this shit could be. My favorite has been by far the elephant. Someone thought it was an elephant, like hump, trunk, all that stuff, elephant. I'm like,
well,
I believe you're daft there, you bastard.
You brought this article to my attention, Corey. So let's lead off.
Yes.
Let's lead off with this one. Plesiosaur fossils found in the Sahara suggest they weren't just marine animals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they
Now
were also.
it says in this picture, the illustration here in the article, the Plesiosaurus and Spinosaurus may have both inhabited freshwater rivers.
Mm-hmm.
But this was found in the Sahara Desert, so this might have indicated that they could go all over the place.
Well, and
no, go ahead.
we see this kind of stuff in modern life all the time. The one that they point to in this, of course, are dolphins and such. Say the difference between marine dolphins and river dolphins. And they point to that being what the differences would be between the saltwater plesiosaurs and the freshwater plesiosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
Or, more than likely, in my opinion, it would be more akin to what a bull shark does, and it regulates its salinity content so it can move
Mhm.
into freshwater. Because it's a survival instinct that works. And it works for a lot of different creatures, not just the bull shark, but it's plausible. It's plausible. Probable, not so much.
The fossils include bones and teeth from 3-meter-long adults and an arm bone from a 1.5-meter-long baby. They hint that these creatures routinely lived and fed in fresh water alongside frogs, crocodiles, turtles, fish, and the huge aquatic dinosaur Spinosaurus. These fossils suggest the plesiosaurs were adapted to tolerate fresh water, possibly even spending their lives there like today's river dolphins. This new paper was headed by University of Bath student Georgina Bunker, along with Nick Longrich from the University of Bath Milner Center for Evolution, David Martell and Roy Smith from the University of Portsmouth, and Samir Zauri from the Université Hassan II. The fossils include vertebrae from the neck, back, and tail, shed teeth, and an arm bone from a young juvenile.
Well, and they can actually tell the diet of said creature from its bones, depending on if any actual marrow was fully fossilized or not. And they can tell whether or not they're primarily feeding off of freshwater and saltwater fish.
Well, the bones and teeth were found scattered and in different localities, not as a skeleton. So each bone and each tooth is a different animal. We have over a dozen animals in this collection. It says while bones provide information on where the animals died, the teeth are interesting because they were lost while the animal was alive. So they show where the animals lived. So it's interesting. The scientists say that it implies the plesiosaurs were eating the same food, chipping their teeth on the armored fish that lived in the river. This hints they spent a lot of time in the river rather than being occasional visitors.
Well, a migratory population would explain why they were able to avoid the Chicxulub crater, or the impact meteor that wiped out virtually every other reptile species. And I'm not saying that these guys swam exclusively to Scotland or Lake Champlain.
Right.
But, they were able to adapt better, it seems. And that's yet to be determined. We don't have any direct evidence. We just have things that might be revealed later in the program.
Well,
stay tuned, people.
That's the problem that I run into with a lot of like marine research is we've spent a lot of time taking what is my opinion the easy route and going to space instead of figuring out our own oceans. and actually figuring out ways to tolerate the pressure so we can explore it and actually see what's down there. We need to catalog more of what's actually in the oceans. That's most of our world that we don't know shit about. So, I mean, these things could be all over the place and we wouldn't fucking know it. They could just be way smarter than we assume.
And again, if we're relying on the authority to report their findings in a scientific manner,
right?
I don't think that we're going to find much cooperation in that vein. They want to keep us on the hamster wheel, and this is kind of getting into Tuesday, but you know.
Let's you know, like Roman Reigns, we're about to acknowledge you, chat. So let's say what's up to some people that just joined. We see Netter's Network popped in. You know, Troy's love of life. And also Tehillim 29. What's up, Tehillim? Good to see you, brother. And of course, TZ Burton's in the house. What's up, TZ Burton? Great to see you as well. You know, we're having a pretty fascinating discussion on the Loch Ness monster, and Tobat says it was just Donatello's boner, guys. Those damn Ninja Turtles in time.
Yeah, we're gonna maintain Drew's dong. Okay, so this is something that came from the 1970s. Okay.
Yeah, I remember this. I've seen this before.
Yeah, so some motherfuckers went out to Loch Ness with 1970s tech and recorded some visuals that appear fuzzy to our, 2021 mentality. But nevertheless, it shows something that has the same size and mass as what we would expect a plesiosaur to look like, especially one that conforms to the remains that were purported in the article that we were discussing earlier. So, and this is MIT. This is not, backyard fucking moonshine on your porch, grandpa motherfucker. This is a reputable science rag. So let's have it. I can't hear you, Corey. You're muted or something.
Well, it would help if Cobalt wasn't on my screen. But Drew had to bounce to probably drain the hose. So fuck. Now we have to vamp. But anyway, no, it's completely plausible that these things could have existed even up to the 1970s or beyond. But my huge doubt is that anything like that exists now, because I doubt anything lived in that lake very long past the 1980s. And it has to do with the fact that the bottom of Loch Ness is covered in radioactive ash from Chernobyl. The fallout cloud carried the ash directly to the lake, basically, and it settled. And for a while there, it didn't settle, so it had to have killed a lot. And now, I haven't looked at recent wildlife official documents from the area, but there was a sharp decline in all fish life in the loch for a very long time. Like even in like 2010, I think the fish numbers were only a quarter of what they should have been.
So you're saying that the lake could not sustain a population of...
Yeah, if it can't sustain the food fish for this animal, it can't sustain this animal. So that's all I'm saying. Like it could have lived there, but once certain things happened, I don't think it lived there anymore. And the river Ness that feeds the loch into the ocean out there hasn't flooded well enough to allow something this size to get out for a long time.
So you think that they're isolated and that they have perished?
I do. Meantime. I do, honestly. because
Okay.
it's been like, I don't even remember the last recorded flood of the River Ness, and I think that was from like 1940s or something like that.
Remember, it may
If I
very well be. Yeah.
Because I mean, we've seen larger predatory animals die out because their foodstuffs is gone. It happens.
Well, and what about the juveniles? Could they possibly wiggle out in a way that the adults could not? Is
It's
there a way?
possible,
Yeah.
but uh, the River Ness is incredibly rock laden. So, and we're not talking little rocks; we're talking like boulders. So, even with if it had strong enough pectoral fins to help it get over said rocks, um, it wouldn't make it very far very fast, and we would probably have hardcore evidence of the Loch Ness monster. Because most of the time, these kinds of animals are in the water and they are super heavy, which means their pectoral fins are not actually designed to carry their full mass. The water dissipates a lot of their mass and allows them to move more freely. So if it were to get beached in any way, we wouldn't know about it.
So I'm looking at the chat, and it looks like a lot of people are talking about radioactive fallout. So, what do you know about Chernobyl, and how did that impact Loch Ness and possibly Nessie?
Well,
if she's there.
Well, when Chernobyl had its little incident, let's call it, the winds carried a lot of the fallout, specifically radioactive particles from uh, reactor number 4, were blown west to Scotland, and it actually blanketed the entire countryside. But of course, with rains and stuff like that, it'll actually wash a lot of the radioactive sediment down from the hillsides and the riverbanks and all that back into the water sources. And so when you get a high concentration like that, it can have a number of effects on the environment and the native species. It can cause an artificial increase in water temperature. And as we've seen in Russia with certain types of salmon and stuff, a 1 degree increase in water temperature can be completely lethal for a species. And then there's, of course, the normal fallout from radiation, which is decrease in breeding number, decrease in overall weight, etc. Mutations as far as like tumors and stuff like that. It's
Sasquatch Bill makes the point that the Loch Ness monster predates Chernobyl by over 100 years.
It does, but that does not eliminate the idea that it was wiped out in Chernobyl, which happened, more recently with a decrease in sightings as well.
Well, okay, let me. So, what if this thing got turned into Godzilla by the radioactivity?
Well, that would have been an interesting time. Oh no!
Yeah, it sounds
there
like
goes Glasgow.
It sounds like Nessie was against Brexit.
Nice.
All right.
So, still, how much radioactive material would it take for a mass of that size without any known life expectancy?
How much radioactive material would it take for a mass of that size? What mass are we talking about?
Whatever Nessie's supposed to be.
Like biomass.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to look at the size of the lake, the amount of fish in there, and the amount of population that it can sustain.
Well, yeah, and then you have to look at how radiation builds.
Yeah,
it stacks.
If plesiosaurs are migratory, like we're talking about, maybe there's like an open water, like ocean saltwater variety, and maybe there's or maybe if we want to believe in this thing, maybe they spend a portion of their life in the loch and then a portion of their life in the ocean, like
sawfish, bull shark, eels. A lot of animals do that.
Yeah.
Tobat says Lochzilla. Nice. I like it.
Lochzilla.
Art says I said RR says if you're going with the Godzilla hypothesis, you can't rule out Hollow Earth theory. Yeah, I know, dude. I was just being facetious, but
and that
you
could be
know,
a future topic. You know,
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say we
dig
should
Hollow
totally
Earth
talk
shit.
Yeah, we could talk Hollow Earth in the future.
masks don't do a lot for radiation. Water also attenuates the effects.
Interesting.
Yeah. I just find it, the fascinating thing about this, all right, and this goes back to my feeling on Sasquatch, because I lean towards more, I really do kind of lean more towards believing in Sasquatch, but the recent discoveries especially going over the material when I was doing show prep, I have to say, look, the most compelling out of all the phenomena that we've gone through on the show so far, this probably has the most compelling evidence for someone to sit here and say, okay, this is actually plausible, from a logic standpoint, because there's bones, fossils, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to meet it halfway and say, okay, there's definitely a plausibility factor here as opposed to the other phenomena. And when we were when we were doing the show like last week, when we were talking about the black-eyed children, that was more of a creepy pasta urban legend
Yeah.
almost. And I kind of figured that, okay, that one was a little more on the far-fetched side. But
Well,
go ahead, Corey. I'm sorry.
so a lot of the things that we're seeing these days, and this is where technology kind of hurt us a little bit.
No, PJ makes this point as well, Corey.
South Africa is not far from Scotland. You're not wrong, actually, especially if you're a water-based creature. I mean, real picture of it. There's a lot more pictures of Nessie, and I totally forgot what I was going to say. But some of those pictures of Nessie are actually really hard to like debunk and stuff.
Well, and that's why I tended to find older sources, because like as we move into the Photoshop era, you can make anything look like anything. I've seen like videos of UFOs like spinning around on tetrahedral designs over Russia in the middle of the day and nothing, But I've seen videos, or not videos. I've seen photos like the one that I showed you, and there's another really famous one that has a flipper.
Now the point here, guys, that Marby Dog makes, and this is one that I've kind of, if I'm sort of in marking the column, for belief, this was one of them that I always kind of held on to in my mind as well. Loch Ness is very deep and very cold. If there was a genetic mutation allowing for cold water, then the monster is possible.
Okay, and this is one of the hangups I have. A lot of people say that the Loch Ness monster is a reptile. Okay, reptiles are cold-blooded. They need the sun and they need ways to keep themselves warm because they don't produce that themselves. So if Loch Ness monster was a reptile, it would also probably go into hypothermic shock fairly quickly. However, if it were something more along the lines of, say, a shark genome, there are genetic mutations that allow sharks into very cold water. The Greenland shark is a great example of that. So there are certain types of genetic mutations that can allow for extreme cold water exposure. I've just never seen it in a reptile.
Yeah.
Amphibians, yes.
Sasquatch Bill, by the way, Sasquatch Bill, man, great to see you, buddy. I hope you're doing okay, man. I haven't been around popping on the Twitter spaces too much here lately. I got to get to doing that again at some point. But it's good to see you nonetheless. And I'm glad that you're catching my YouTube content, bro. I appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Um, also, Deej is in the house. Deej Odyssey. What's up, DJ? Great to see you, man. I hope that we talk soon, Deej. I hope everything's okay with you. Um, Maddie says, exactly how does Nessie intake radioactive material? How much does it really affect Nessie? Would not the entire loch be covered in floating fish?
And dead, bloated bodies. Like just bloop, bloop, bloop.
Not necessarily. And I say that for a reason. The large quantities of dead fish could be carried off by other species that show up in the lake. They do have seals that frequently come into the lake. They do have certain large predators that come to get fish, and the lack of fish bodies would actually not be a strong indicator if the presence of predators was high enough at the time. But you would have also seen a decline in the predator species because of the same radioactive fallout.
Sasquatch Bill says the old Loch Ness photo that was touted as proof turned out to be a toy tub with a clay head on it.
Now that's the surgeon's photo that he's debating.
Yeah. It's so bad. I love you, dude. I need to like tweet this out. It's funny. If you don't donate to True AOC, we'll come spend 3 weeks indoctrinating you on how bad J6 was. I love it. CC's trying to think of his particles, not quarks. Sorry, I can't think of particle right this second. Dude, if you mention quark, all I can think of is Deep Space Nine. Medi said they need air. And, yeah, I know TZM kind of running with culture at the same time. But, this show lent itself to being a midnight program because it said, it's the Midnight Prism. So, hey. Tehillim says, we all know Loch Ness is unseen because she has info on Hillary that could put her and her husband in prison. Yes, another monster's in the house. Great to see you, another monster. Hail at RR. Nephilim to you, sir. Yes. We haven't made any Nephilim references, so, go ahead and just bring them in the chat. And that's our drinking game. We make Nephilim references, and people end up doing shots. So that's a drinking game that spawned from talking about the paranormal and unexplained phenomena. It's great. Whales sink when they die. That's what I meant by whaling. I had a different definition of whaling, Mr. CC. It was when I had quite too many drinks and had beer goggles when I would meet, a random gal at the bar.
Alrighty. Going whaling. Harpooning some poon.
Harpoonani.
Harpoon tang.
God.
Kenobi meat.
Hashtag Kenobi meat, yes. Marby Dog says Nessie could also be a giant sea cucumber.
Sure, why not? Why not? Sure, why not?
Oh God. Jesus. Actually, Marby, this is been talked about before.
Yep.
Actually, and that's quite the possibility that it could be a giant sturgeon.
It could be. Not familiar with the sturgeon populations of Loch Ness, so
Yeah,
it's possible.
Dude. I think my ex was one of those Sasquatch, Bill. Another monster. Oh God. Medi says, "Thank God that YouTube was not around when I was in my 20s." Yeah, absolutely, dude. I'm glad I grew up pre-internet. Uh,
All right. This is one of those things that I want to kind of debate with you guys. I don't know, Corey, if you're like more skeptic or not. And I don't know, Drew, if you're more like believable or not. But strange remains washed up. Uh, a giant skeleton washed up on a Scottish beach during Storm Syria. Locals were baffled after a snap of what looked like a rotten carcass was posted online earlier this week, with some suggesting it could be the remains of the Loch Ness monster.
no, when was this article from?
This is
20.
11 February 2020 by Ruth Warrender.
Mm.
And this is from the Sun. So I mean, it's not bullshit, but it's something that had to be pushed through editors and, and it's probably meant to be like a entertainment piece, but it's one of
Those are
these
totally
things
whale
like
bones.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm looking at some whale bones here just because I was curious, and those are totally whale bones.
Show us
There-
a different
There be
image.
whales here.
All right.
There might be.
Share screen. Number 2. Here we go.
That's the radiated skeleton. Let's see.
So it has the same flat protrusions with because that one is incredibly covered in debris. If you look at this one here, that's obviously a very large whale, but yeah, and this is in New South Wales, so that's probably not a cold water whale, but like this one, for instance, here has the same protrusions as the other one, just a smaller actual dorsal spine on it.
So that's probably a neck vertebrae.
Yeah. So I'm guessing personally that that's probably a whale.
Sasquatch Bill says, saw that photo. That is the extent of it. There is no references to show where that photo was taken. But if I were to guess, just by that beach, that is not Scotland.
Can we bring it back up?
Yeah.
It's in there
There
still.
it is.
Yeah.
Storm Ciara. Where? Scottish beach during Storm Ciara. Okay.
There may be. Oh gosh, we go from dick jokes to Moby Dick
There
jokes.
be whales here.
Yeah, so okay. To further shit on this, that washed in from an oceanic storm that beat the shit out of the UK coastlines for a while. So that could be anywhere in the UK, and it came from the ocean. So it's a whale.
Yep, it's a whale.
I mean,
Medi says they use the ribs for fake ivory, I believe.
I could believe that.
Lasso said
It's always about the
dicks. Yes, it is.
Word.
Yep, Tobat. We were just talking about that. We have the same article or similar articles because as you pull up info on the Loch Ness monster, pretty much that article the information in an article in some form or fashion is all in here. So, yeah.
Well, and we also want you to form your final opinion. We're not here to say what is and what isn't. We're just presenting things that we
Indeed.
seen.
We have our opinions, but I mean, it's up to you guys to decide what you believe.
Yeah, and again, I'm not I'm not I'm not one in my older years, especially. Hey Raquel SSG, what's going on, man? It's great to see you. Um, I'm not one in my older years to really readily just say, I believe in this phenomenon, I believe in that phenomenon, without having
Evidence.
more hard evidence. Boy,
Substantiated evidence, yeah.
I really emphasized hard, but God. But the thing is, Deed says, older years, you youngster. I don't know. I still think this at least has more going for it than the other phenomena that we've gone over so far.
Yeah.
There's an argument. There's an argument to be made here.
There is,
either way, because it's not necessarily conclusive one way or the other.
Right. And with the evidence that we've seen, we can say that there's a strong plausibility of freshwater plesiosaurs and even cold water plesiosaurs, depending on what their actual genetic makeup looks like.
Yes.
But the problem that I'm having is even the people that believe in the existence of the Loch Ness Monster as it stands in folklore and everything else don't want to talk about the fact that it might now be an extinct species. Because I believe that it could have one day possibly existed in the past, but it doesn't anymore. I still want to go to Nessie Land on the shores of the Loch, but
I can sell you a hat.
Yeah, see, and Medi appreciates it. He said, I'm just pointing possible flaws in the argument, and I got my questions answered with logic. I might not agree completely, but my mind is more open to accept new info. And that's and that's the thing that I'm after with this program, Medi, because this is a nice shift from doing the stuff that we do on Tuesday. And while a lot of you in the audience really enjoy the Tuesday program about politics and current events, when I can really kind of on a late, Sunday evening, early Monday morning, kind of get into, that same vein of searching and asking questions like, why is it, what is this in what's it made of, and what are what are some of the things that may lend for this phenomena to be, and I like going after that, and I think that's why I've always had a fascination with unexplained phenomena, because we all do. We're curious by our nature. That's what being that's the essence of being human. Mm-hmm. And that's what I enjoy doing with this show, because I want to approach it from a way of looking at it from, start with skepticism and then fan out to, plausibility and eventually believability. You don't want to just go in there and be like one of those other programs where people talk about this and they're just one way or the other saying, oh, I believe it, or no, I don't believe this, and dismiss it out of hand. because there can be extremes. I want to actually, do this organically and approach it, from the right mindset. And I think, and that's why I love having Corey's mind on the panel and having the way that Immortal Coil brings his information, because we have sort of that cornucopia of different things, and it lends to really good discussion. And that's what I'm enjoying about the way that we analyze these subjects.
So it's Mulder and Scully and the Smoking Man.
The real question is, when is Drew going to be in Scotland again? Then we will know when the next sighting will be. Tobat says, hey, man bear pig is real. What about the funny? Betty says it's a possibility. Think about all the cameras and video equipment around now, yet no new sightings. Yes.
But who's filtering your news?
Sasquatch Bill says, hey, they've caught a giant squid, right? That is a big deal. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Yeah. And you guys are right, spot on about the giant squid. They did.
The Kraken was a cryptid for a long fucking time.
That is a very recent discovery. I mean, that was just in the past, 15, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is very recent. They found in the past 100 years, they found evidence of the existence of the coelacanth, which was prehistoric fish.
Mm-hmm. We've actually discovered a lot of Lazarus taxonomy species, and for the lay people out there, that means those are species that we thought were previously extinct, and we are just now discovering that they are not. One example is actually a pygmy whale. These are 6 to 8 feet long, but they're, 2,000 pounds, 2 to 6,000 pounds, depending on what their eating habits are. It's, we thought they were dead. Certain types of sharks we thought were completely extinct because we only saw them in fossil records. But we've recently found a lot of them on the ocean floor and in cold waters where people don't do a lot of exploring. Not that we do anyway, because we've mapped 2% of the oceans, if that. So, I mean, it happens with land animals too, like birds and rodents.
and Sasquatch Bill also brings up, and this kind of goes with you bring up a great point, Bill, because this goes with the idea, same thing with Sasquatch. When you talk about the Native American stories and lore and how that is so interwoven into their legends, it's to say this is the same thing. This is the European version of that, in the sense that there's a reason that there are lake monsters in a lot of legends in European countries. Early Europeans had deep superstitions about lakes, rivers, and the sea. Absolutely.
This is true, but if you look at the connection between anything paranormal, we'll include Nessie in this, even though she's a cryptid. It's always something to do with waters. It's all water of some kind. Water is oftentimes thought of in the mystic circles as a energy enhancing force, or as a medium for the afterlife and stuff like that. So there's always water involved too. So
sleep.
What's that?
So is sleep.
This is true. Dreams are always going to get people. Like always. But, the important thing with Nessie versus, say, like the Mama Yata in Brazil.
I think Tobat's right about this, by the way.
On hard times. Rick James will do that to you. Yeah. But, like Mama
Cocaine's
Yata,
a hell of a drug.
Yeah, it is. No, don't do drugs, kids. It's bad and good. But like with certain water-based myths, Mama Yata, and there's another one in the Congo Delta region. Can't remember the name of it. It's long and weird, but
Yeah, that's what
there's
she
never been
said.
any. Yeah, right. There's never been any evidence to these things, but we find things that make Nessie more plausible all the time. I mean, we do through science, through human curiosity, we discover things that make things like Nessie and Bigfoot, in my opinion, much more plausible than a lot of the other country stories.
Hey,
Don't know where I was going.
TC Burton, we'll actually cover that topic if there's
Yeah,
a
I
lot.
can't wait for that.
We'll do the Jersey Devil.
That is one of the most.
I remember reading up
up.
on the Jersey Devil. Yeah,
They made a movie called Chud.
I remember Chud. That was crazy.
Yeah. Anyway,
Everybody's smoking out and doing shots. It's like closing in. It's 3 minutes to 1 a.m. We're closing in on the top of the hour.
the witching.
It is now. It is now. It is now well into Monday morning here on the East Coast.
Yeah. We also need to, in the future, discuss Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, I absolutely love. You know, if you listen to things, and I've obviously gotten a lot more. I would say that over the past like 15 years, probably into stuff with the Skinwalker Ranch. I do like a lot of the stuff that George Knapp does about it. You know, because he has been steadily reporting on that place for decades. So, we'll see. And now Trina's a skeptic when it comes to Skinwalker Ranch. So is Sasquatch Bill, it appears. So, well, we'll have to really dive into that one a few episodes down the road.
Well, that's the value of the chat. You guys can suggest topics for future editions of Midnight's Prism.
The next episode that I want to do is most definitely I want to hit and this kind of skims over Skinwalker Ranch. Medi, just Google Skinwalker Ranch. It's a place. Oh God, I want to say that
Utah,
that's Oregon or Utah.
Utah.
Rather.
It's in Utah.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to say though is, and hail to you, Hetty. It's great to see you, Hetty Lamar. The thing that I had wanted to say was next week is we are going to do UFOs and slash UAPs because fuck it, just say UFOs. I'm not going to say UAPs because I feel like it's like giving into like the new change of language,
newspeak.
Yeah, I don't like doing news. Fuck newspeak. UFOs. We're doing UFOs next week.
Hell
Fuck.
yeah.
I'm not going to say UAP. Fuck that.
And we talk about Rendlesham and all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah, we'll get into the famous cases and whatnot.
Betty and Barney Hill.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll have to compartmentalize it. I just want to kind of generally do UFOs next week, and then we'll get into actual abductions. We'll do abduction stuff on another episode.
All right.
Because usually this show is just about an hour long. and I kind of like to keep it pretty clear and concise. Medi says, "Do aliens have pronouns?" Probably. I don't know, man. If they've been exposed to us for a long time, dude, we probably did irreparable damage to them.
They abduct your nouns and your cows.
No, you see, the thing about the pronouns is that the aliens actually abducted someone and then like inceptioned that concept into their brain as a joke, and now we're fucked
Hmm.
because you misidentified it. I mean, them, they, it.
Yeah, I love the Rendlesham stuff. It is wild, Sasquatch Bill. I mean, it's very interesting. Um, all right. Remember, folks, if you want to support the show, you can help out, toss something at the PayPal, or as Lasso so nicely linked, you also still have the campaign open for my mom's funeral stuff, and that is at givesandgo.com/Taylor Legacy. That fund's still going. We are a third of the way funded. I'd like to get to the finish line on that because that's going to go and really help with being able to have the money to pay for her funeral, but also be able to catch up the rest of the bills for the house, and also be able to put enough away to keep the house. So that's it's important. But yeah, if you want to help the channel, you can help in those ways because currently um, I am not monetized. YouTube pulled my monetization. They say that I have to re-verify my identity, which is a bunch of
What
garbage.
the fuck?
But that's why supposedly they pulled it. But anyways, in the meantime, if you want to help out the channel, those are the ways that you can. Now I'm going to go around the panel because we're going to get out of here. Hetty, if you ask, then you shall receive. Let's see. There's one way, and then we'll also put the link to the campaign, which is givesandgo.com/Taylor
Lasso
Legacy.
of Truth just dropped it in there too.
Okay. Yep. And I know why they really pulled my monetization. Um, I think we all know why they pulled my monetization, guys, and it's frankly because I tell the truth. I tell the truth. I'm over the target, and that's why. That's exactly why. That's why they did what they did to Wes Moody. And these are the types of things that we um, that we have to deal with. But it's the evil people that actually do own these platforms, and so it is an uphill battle constantly. But I'm not going to stop fighting it. I'm always going to continue to put the truth out there, and I'm going to be right over that target. And by the way, folks, catch United Resistance on Tuesday, 6:45 p.m. Eastern. I'm not sure what the topic's going to be. I haven't thought that far ahead. I kind of have to figure it out tomorrow, but I'm sure there's enough crazy shit to pick from that we'll be right on top of it. And we'll have all the news and current events of the day anyway. And then we will have a good topic to get into. I probably will do it on HR 1808 most likely, which is if you folks don't know, that's the gun grab legislation, and I'll probably really be keenly doing a program on that one. So anyway, let's go around the panel, and we will let Corey go first. So Sir Talks a Lot, you're up.
All right. Hey, everybody. While Drew injects the truth into everything, I like to inject absurdity. So make sure you check out Sir Talks a Lot on YouTube. I will be doing my normal Monday morning / afternoon live stream. It's at 1 p.m. on Eastern Time. Yeah. 12 Central, 11 Mountain, 10 Pacific. Yeah, there you go. It will be just a solo me doing a state of the channel and a meme review. I'm going to go over my reaction memes. I'm currently at 154 separate reaction memes. And when you see them, you'll be like, why the hell don't you use these on Twitter? And I don't know, but they're great. Then I released a new song this last Friday. Go check that out. It's called Mr. Mean. It's a villain's theme song. I hope you guys enjoy that as well. I think that's it. The usual stuff, yelling at parked cars. Second to last Dark Philosophy for the season on Wednesday. Thursday Night Throwdown.
Yes, do not miss Dark Philosophy, man. Great concept, great show.
Yes, 2 episodes left in that, and then we're done until winter break hits for the school. So,
yeah. RR says, if you were a lying dog-faced pony soldier like Bribe, and they'd be pushing your channel harder than Big Mike swings a roll of quarters. That's right.
This is true. This is true.
That is right, because you know what? Just for you, RR, you know what's happening.
I don't want to hear any more of these lies about reckless spending. We're changing people's lives.
Oh,
Every
God.
time.
Oh, man. Thank you for your wonderful comments, Hetty. I appreciate it. Appreciate you so much. Oh God, I met Hetty in I originally made friends with Hetty in John Tox's chat, and God, I think Hetty and I have been bumping into each other in the YouTube sphere now for God, that's like been a couple years, maybe 3 years. It's been crazy, but Hetty's super supportive and awesome, and she also was there when I was on John B. Wells's program. So, but yeah, I will let Immortal Coil do his outro, and then we are going to get on out of here.
What's happening, savages? I appreciate the panel. I appreciate the chat. You are truly the best audience on all of YouTube. Come check me out. I got some stuff happening with bisexual Obi-Wan and with the Orville, the final season, which I was very, very impressed by. You are listening to the Throat of Immortal Coil. Like, share, subscribe, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you later. Appreciate you.
Yeah, that's right. And again, folks, like I said, Tuesday, don't miss United Resistance. We always have a good show on there. I am trying to line up some new guests coming up down the road. And I continue to reach out to try to do that. But even when it's just a normal panel, man, we always have great hijinks. Because what I like to say when I'm talking to new people about United Resistance, they're like, well, what's your show about? Well, I'm like, it's talking about politics and current events with like a panel of people. But the difference between us and those types of shows that you see on cable television is we're actually entertaining. So
you sure are.
So there is that. So that's why that's what makes United Resistance stand out to me. And of course, we've had great guests ever since that show started. We're up to about, we're going on about episode 36 or something like that. And we've had guests all the way from congressional candidates to Laura Logan to Jasmine St. Clair. We've had on Allura Jensen. We've had on Chase Geyser. We've had on a ton of heavy hitters, as far as guests. Pretty impressive for a 1,500 subscriber channel, I gotta say. And one thing I will tell anybody out there that does content creation is never be afraid to just reach out to somebody on Twitter and say, hey, would you care to be on my program? It never hurts to ask. Because I'll tell you what, there's been a lot of times I've reached out to people, where a lot of people would have been intimidated or not said a word. And they've made the time and said, sure, I'll be on your program. And so all you have to do is just ask, shoot your shot, man. That's the best way to go about it. Because if you don't ask, you don't know. And you should always, take that shot. Even if it doesn't land, then, say, so be it. You made a connection. And that's the important thing, So.
And what's the worst that could happen?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, and I like the balance of content that we're starting to slowly build on the channel, because we've got the political stuff and the current events covered, but we have this show now on Sunday. You can relax, you can kick back, we can have kind of philosophical and interesting talks about the things that we don't understand. And that's what's cool about talking about unexplained phenomena and the paranormal. And then, of course, I also want to get back into recreational streaming. I'm eventually going to try and reopen my Twitch channel, do some gaming again, because I do miss game streaming, and try to continue to work. I've had some obstacles. Doctor told me I can't do like normal work, but I can at least still work from home. Yeah, I'm going to try to make that happen. So, stay tuned, folks. I do have things going on. I'm going to keep at it. But again, I want to say thank you to the chat. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, man. I love you. There is no show without you, because you guys are as critical to this program, to all the programming, to all the YouTubers around this fellowship, this community. Even if they don't tell you they appreciate you, remember, you are the critical piece. You are as critical as any panelist, any guest, because you bring real organic personality to the show. You enhance the show. You are a part of the show. And that is something I appreciate. And I never will intentionally go without making that point, because you folks are absolutely amazing. And I do love each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. But thank you very much. Have yourselves a great night. We will see you on Tuesday and next Sunday. Take care.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, hi, Coast Casino.
Hey, welcome to Sporking News Podcast. My name is Scott.
I'm E. Temple Queen of the Place to Be Reviews.
I am the Patriot, True Taylor, aka Supreme Heretic.
The Red Gaze on YouTube, at the Red Gaze on Twitter.
What up, what up, what up?
Hello, everybody. It's me, Vinny.
The voice of Immortal Coil.
Oh, hey, I am the Ghost Bear.
What's going on, Tommy? You didn't get anybody to like this?
Yeah, I'm Wes Moody of the Wes Moody Webcast.
Tony, Death, rocking the